Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 256. Each week we meet here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, and the Facebook group Dumb SEO Questions. With us tonight we have Masataki Wasa. Masataki is webmaster of wasaweb.net. He doesn't call himself an SEO, but he really is. And he is also a top contributor on the Google AdSense community. Masataki is based in London, near Wimbledon. And Tim Capper is CEO of onlineownership.com. He is a conversion rate optimization specialist. He's proud to call himself an SEO. He's based in Corby, about 97 miles north of London. All right, we have a few questions tonight. Let me see. I must be clicking the wrong button. There we are. Okay, the first one is local SEO for local business. That's the title. It's from Chandrasane Rajput. Chandrasane said, hello guys, I am new in digital marketing. I want to learn local SEO for local businesses like gym/restaurant/saloon shop, etc. I know Google business page creation, but don't know local SEO. Please tell me or send some effective strategy and YouTube video. Please help.
Right. So your first starting point is my blog, onlineownership.com. There's pretty much everything you ever wanted to know about local SEO there. And then obviously, keep checking back because I publish stuff all the time. Right. Well, I mean, it's quite a big subject. It's like, okay. So I would say the top couple of things. If you are a single location business, so let's say a restaurant, you're at a single location, it's not part of a chain. So a single location business. You obviously are going to optimize that for local. So you're going to have what kind of restaurant it is, the name of the restaurant, for example, in your title. Your title will be the name of the restaurant, what it serves, like, I don't know, let's say barbecue shack in the actual location. In your H2, you certainly want to include your location within that, as well as that you are a barbecue restaurant. A good bit of introductory copy onto your page, and obviously you want a menu on a secondary page in HTML because that can be read now. And as you know, if you are aware of business pages, you can also add your menu URL onto that. In your footer, I would highly recommend adding your location, the full location, and embedding your actual map from your business page. Because you've embedded the actual where you are and it's in your footer, you can also add your specific structured data markup to the site. So that is, in a very quick nutshell, is optimizing the site. And it applies to everything as such. So for local, then I would say offsite, you want to look at niche specific business citations. So when I say niche specific, literally I've seen, for example, I've seen a website completely outrank in sort of in the local pack with good authority niche citations over the next guy in the pack who literally has just gone and scattergunned 150 crap business citations. So what you want to do is really concentrate on the good and the high authority business citations. So you would look at, now depending on the business, you would look at your Chamber of Commerce, you would look at any local blog, newspapers, local charities, and then any niche local business directories. And then there's obviously the handful of, you know, sort of international directories. So for example, if your restaurant, or like your restaurant and your gym, that would be, you know, Yelp and things like that. So the handful of international large ones. But I would really say concentrate specifically on local niche directories. And then once you've done the local niche, then expand it to the state or the county, depending on what country you're working in, expand it to the actual region that you're in. And then that will be enough, but you need to pay attention to, you know, you need to pay attention to your NAP specifically. Then what else? So obviously social, local businesses with social is pretty important. But with any social, you know, you've got to keep it real. The way I explain about social to any new businesses or clients that I have is social is kind of like being invited to a dinner party. People, you know, you don't just ramble on about you all night and what you do. You interact, you ask questions, you speak to other people. If you just turned up at a dinner party and just went me, you'd be like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to talk to this bloke anymore. They'd be like, oh, yeah, just ignore him. Yeah, so that's social. Just don't plug your own crap day in and day out. If you're a local business, you need to integrate into the community. So you ask questions, you interact. You know, if you're a gym, you're like, wow, I just, you know, checked out this really cool restaurant down the road who specializes in superfood salads, ideal for a workout, you know. And then once you start talking to them, you know, can you foster any relationships? Can you do any cross marketing, yeah, within your local social community, right? So yeah, you know, keep on top. Is there a, you know, like, is there fireworks going off for whatever festival this month in your local community? Post that, and feel free to post what's going on locally. People, you know, just get completely turned off if it's me, buy this, buy that. Oh, you know, yeah. However, on the flip side, you know, you need to balance it. Restaurants on the one hand, you can use social for and Google posts, what our latest special is today, or the weekly special, things like that. Keep people informed. If it's, you know, for like a gym, in terms of content, start thinking about expanding out on that, not just a gym, but expand out on your content on site, as far as, because gym's about health, so start talking about diets, health, recipes. You know, you can literally expand that out. I have no idea what a saloon shop is, but for a restaurant, same again. You can also expand out into recipes. You can expand out to what's going on in the local community. You can expand out into all sorts of areas. Yeah, this will also include YouTube. You know, every now and again, every couple of months, let's say you do a specific, or you've got a, you know, doing a little wedding, or let's say you have a private dining, or you do a specific themed evening. Consider getting the local, some kid from the local college who can, you know, produce a fairly decent video, and put together a 10-minute video of your Mexican themed evening and whatever. So yeah, it's literally get your site right. And I've got the 2017 ranking factors on my site that you can read through. Get your site right, get your off-site correct, and then it's a question of producing your localized, highly localized content that will appeal to people within your local area. There's no point writing about stuff that's happened, unless you can incorporate it slightly, or people would be interested. But there's no point writing random stuff about something that's going on in another country or another city, unless you can incorporate it into your local thing. If it's, so yeah, hyper local content, which will work within your city or town, depending where you are. But yeah, it's a kind of a long asked question. We'll stick to that then.
Excellent, Tim. Thank you. That's a good answer. There's something rattling too when you were speaking. Your microphone might be vibrating. Is it or no? Or anyway. All right. Let's move on to the next. This one from Ted Rinshed. It's titled, "Does the exact page name have to be in the main menu?" Ted said, "This may be a dumb question, but in WordPress, I named a page home and it appears first on the main menu. On the actual page, my H1 heading is the page name. I don't see home anywhere." A question, should I rename the home page created in the WordPress customizer something else for better SEO? Does the exact page name have to be in the main menu? I assume not, but not 100% certain. What tool will tell me the exact page name of my competitors? I mean, a search engine results page title created in Yoast, seen in the snippets, is different, I assume. Well, I can jump in here. I guess it's quite legitimate to have a link home, because everyone knows when you link that, it goes back to the home page. Your H1 heading is the page name. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't see home anywhere.
What's the site, Jim? Do you know the site?
No, I don't know the site.
Okay, so yeah, it all depends on how you're working it, Ted, and also depends on your theme. So normally with a pinch of salt here, what you type into the property, the actual what goes in your property title on that page becomes becomes what the page title would be. And as you correctly say, you can edit that in Yoast to be like not say home. But also, if you're talking about the actual navigation menu, what I'm thinking about is I think you mean the navigational menu. You should be able to edit that in the oh man, I'm just trying to think what section. Is it the in the properties in the widgets, either widgets or menu? You should be able to edit that. So for example, instead of just reading home, and that was actually meant to be your, I don't know, call it sales property sales, you could actually edit that. But then I would say, well, you should have created a property sales page and then expanded on that, because the property title that you add in actually becomes your permalink to that page. And ideally you want it to be, rather saying home, which should actually just be your actual main domain. It should, like, for example, your next category is property sales. You should be saying property sales. So then your URL would be -property sales, yeah, as your URL. And then that permalink, and then that title appearing in your menus would say property sales. But you can edit those up in either check your widgets or your menus, in your page section, or no, maybe not in page section, maybe it's in the what section is it? Attributes? No, attachment. Oh shit, I don't know. You'll find it. It's in your widgets or there. You should be able to edit that if it's too long. So like property sales might look very weird in your main menu, and then you could just, snip it down to just sales, for example. But although on your actual main title and the URL would be property sales, if you get what I mean.
Excellent, Tim. I think that's enough for Ted to go on with, and I'm sure he can ask us again if he needs more than that. Let's move on to the next. This SEO question from our good friend from Poland, Lucas Regala. Lucas said, asked a question titled internal links limitation to make Google effectively crawl all links. Lucas asked, he said, from your perspective, guys, what is the current internal links limitation to make Googlebot effectively crawl all the links? I know this is a result of text to HTML ratio too, but from your perspective, is the rule of up to 100 internal links per page still live or not? I asked more. Things to consider before answering yes. Sitemap XML is available and it contains all important products, and yes, there is proper, well-prepared category structure to cover as much user intent as possible based on keyword research and business knowledge.
I'm tempted to say no, in that Google wouldn't have problems discovering all the links. The question is crawling them and then indexing them. And I just don't think it's something that you need to worry about too much. I mean, if you have thousands of links on a given page, then that might be an issue. But I think 100, if you go a few dozen above 100, I don't think it would matter too much. I think the interesting question is, how would Google then interpret the relative importance of links within a document, right? So certain things are going to be more relevant to that entity. The linked entity would be relevant to the entity from which it's linking. Does that make sense? And of course, what are the important links in terms of relationships and connections between the content of the content that's linking out and then the content that's linked into. So it would be interesting to see how that works. It's not, I think, about the number as such, but it's about the qualitative assessment that Google would make about the relevance and importance of a link on a particular entity. I think that's what you'd probably try to think about. So let's say you have site-wide many, then I think Google knows what that is. for example. But if you have a link within a body of text, then is that more relevant to the consumer of that content? And as such, is it more important in terms of the crawling priority for Google? Now, that's an interesting question. I didn't really know, but that's how I think I would try to formulate this question rather than thinking in terms of numbers.
Yeah. One thing that I've found over the years is that Googlebot will allocate more and more robots to a site, and it's generally in line with the popularity of the site. If there's plenty of direct traffic, there'll be more and more Googlebots allocated. It won't be that Googlebot does any more work. It will mean that more links are crawled, and I think that's be much more relevant than the number of internal links on the site. Jenny Halaz gave a great answer on the Dumb SEO Questions group on Facebook. I need to point out that it wasn't something that Matt Cutt said. It was, as I remember it, it was something that Larry Page said. Excuse me. Sorry. All right. Hello, Ashok. Thanks for joining us. Will we move on to the next, guys? Goodness, I hope I can get through this. Jennifer Dowen Ho asked a question titled Deleting Tags on WordPress. She went on to say, so I believe this is related to SEO. I searched the group, but no info on this topic. So here's the rundown. 1, client has a new website, 600 plus blog posts imported from an old site. Client wants me to delete all 3,000 plus tags and retag posts. Some tags have 0 posts associated with them because the post was not imported. 3, the client also wants me to edit 100 plus categories. Separate issue, question mark. I'm a little hesitant to do this. Questions. 1, is there anything I should be aware of before I bulk delete all the tags? 2, would removing them impact SEO? No. 3, don't tags help Google understand site structure? Not sure. 4, bad idea to remove tags when we are trying to rank a brand new site. And 5, edited to add, is this something I should be doing through Google Tag Manager? Someone mentioned this tool in a prior post. I haven't used it before. Thanks for any tips you can provide. Really appreciate your advice in the past.
Yeah, so look, there are times when you can legitimately use tags as in, discoverable pages on the site. But those would be treated as categories and you would use them where people can click through, but you're not doing that. So essentially these tags are just attached pretty much randomly, willy-nilly to the freaking post in any rate, and you see this all the time. Someone writes an article about pink fluffy elephants, right? And all of a sudden the tags pink, fluffy, elephants, trunks, big, large, all of these randomly ridiculous tags attached to them, right? So in that instance, all of those should just be no indexed, right? Because they are just absolutely crap. Now, you want to delete those, go for it, man. Get rid of them. The only time I would recommend, really using a, tags in the site, and I would still no index them, by the way, would help people to discover seemingly similar. So if your pink fluffy elephant article included something to do with poaching, right, you could use a tag poaching, and then and in that tag, then there would be other articles for people to discover regarding poaching. But I would still no index them, because you essentially, by using all these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different tags, you're literally just creating mass unwanted pages, which are thin because they just, one may pull through one article to do with pink fluffy elephants, and one might have, on the trunk one, it might have 20 articles, all actually with also appearing within the category pages, right? So you're just creating thin crap. So to answer your questions, yeah, frickin' delete them all, no problem whatsoever. If you're going to create more, no index them, right? Now, your categories. If you are going to have 100 categories, unless they are really unique and are also going to be populated, then by all means create those 100 categories. Each category, you can obviously amend the title. You can even add a little bit of additional introductory copy to that category, what people can expect to find within these articles, etc., etc. If you're thinking of 100 really thin, crappy things, which are all seemingly the same, but just slightly different, well then, listen, you're just kidding yourself. Just have the 5 or 10 or 20 or 50. But by splitting them out even more and more and more and creating thin ones again, you're doing yourself a disservice. So you need to be, honest with yourselves and say, have I got an elephant category and have I got a meerkat category? Those are two separate legitimate categories, right? But I'm not going to create a category about a trunk, because a trunk belongs to an elephant, and I'm not going to create, an additional category for all these things. Jim, we can see what you're doing there, mate. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, really relook at those categories. If they are 100 totally unique categories, then for sure, by all means, right? And of course, top tip, if you creating those categories ahead of time, I would probably not do that. If you publish an article, or you've got, let's say, 10 articles in a specific category, then create that category, because the minute you create the category, it's an empty page. That if you just had a list of 100 categories, they're empty pages. There's no problem also in creating that, but just make sure that the empty ones are no indexed until you populate them. The point is, you don't want thin crap empty pages all over the place. Stick with yourself, be honest with yourself, and if there's literally is only 20 categories, separate categories, only create the 20, because then you'll have 20 good categories which will individually hold their own weight in the search results, rather than 100 pieces of crap that's just floating around, which Google goes, man, this one's saying to this one's related to that, this one's, oh, frick it, we're not going to show them anything. So yeah, be honest with yourself. Your users will appreciate it, and so will Google. Jim, you there?
Yeah, sorry, mate. I had my screen covered and muted, and I couldn't find the page that was muted. All right, thank you for that, Tim. Let me put this over there. And we'll move down to the next. I've tweeted that. All right, Kyle Arnold asked the question, unofficial photos from rank higher than a verified business in Google My Business. Kyle Arnold said, this is not my client yet, so I don't know all the details. But has anyone seen photos from the web or other websites rank higher than a verified business in Google My Business? The main image is not hers, and when you click on it, the top images aren't either. What would be causing this to happen? Their brand not being strong enough? Or is it because the actual name of the business is too similar? Will flagging the images as irrelevant do anything to help?
Okay, so I don't kind of mean what rank higher. If one business has got an image and another business has got a different image, the images that are appearing within the local pack or the local finder does not play any role whatsoever in a business being position 1 or position 2 within the local pack. So now you say that there's an irrelevant image actually appearing either in the local pack. Does that image also appear within the knowledge panel? I mean, so to answer your question, images, yeah, you've got a couple of things. If the owner obviously can add their own images, their own logo, cover image, as well as images within the different sections of images depending on what the business is. So team, product, you know, if it's a restaurant, it's food, hotel, they ask for accommodation, all sorts like that. And you can add your own that other people can actually add them too. And of course, these are getting more and more frequent because if anyone has the Maps app, the minute you've left a location, that Google knows you were at a location, and if you took a photo, it pops up going, hey, why don't you add these photos? So of course, people just go boom. Of course, sometimes this is what happens is Google's detected the wrong location, and some people don't really read it and just go yeah, and they publish the wrong images in the wrong location. So there's a lot of things here, but high quality images, they do have kind of like a slight little ranking thing, but an internal ranking thing, not in positions. So for example, what I'm saying is if the owner publishes an image as their cover image, which is slightly grainy, whereas someone who came along took a really nice photo, a customer took a really nice image and high quality and published it, Google is going to tend to use the better high quality as the, you know, in search results, in the knowledge panel or in the, then the flip side is I've also seen absolutely horrendous ones, or horrendous ones which are pulled from web images purely because one, that isn't actually added to the site by the owner, so it may not be verified and the owner's never bothered to add images. Two, they can't find any images from the actual owner's website. Let's say the owner's website is just pretty much standard text. They may have added a tiny little image of, let's say, a plate of food. It's just a crap image. Then let's say someone writes a blog in Yelp or Yell or just on a normal website saying, hey, there was this really cool restaurant that we went to and check out this photo. And Google goes, you know what, this is the best photo I can find of that freaking business. They then scrape it and actually use that one. And occasionally they get it wrong. They are getting better at it, but they did occasionally go terribly wrong when, for example, someone had the word, and I'll give you an example which we had to deal with. Someone's business was a plumbing business in Australia called La Fontaine, but Google was pulling all these freaking images of fountains, spelled Fontaine, from France. Okay, so yeah, so like they have got better at that, but those are the different things. So first thing is you need to verify this. You need to add high quality images for the business. Your cover image, logo, and high quality images from the business, the team, etc., and all these kind of things. Once you've added that, if this image has not been rotated out, because the images do get rotated, even if you set a cover image, GMB rotates images based upon user query, what the user query is, what they believe the image to be, you know, so they don't always display the same image, your logo or your cover image, things like that. They don't always, they rotate it. If it's still appearing and it just literally is crap and not related, yeah, flag it. That is going to take a little bit of time. Just remember, there's you know, hundreds of millions of businesses out there, and people, it literally goes into a queue. Could take a bit of time. Be patient with that. If it's really not related and it's bugging the bejesus out of you, send me the business listing map URL and the image, and I can escalate that for you. Or head over to the GMB forum. Same again, map list, the name of the business, the map listing URL, what image is completely wrong, and another TC can escalate that for you. So yeah, that should be about images.
Excellent, Tim. Thank you very much. All right, let's move to the next. This one is from Usman Ghani. It's titled "Recover a Penalized Site, or Should I Start a New One?" Usman said, "Hi all, I have a website 10 years old which was earning well until 2012, and then due to low quality contents penalized by Google and lost all ranking. I already deleted all of the low quality content and I am planning to add new high quality articles. My question is it okay to work on this website to recover, or should I start a new one? I heard that it is very difficult to recover, so is it better to start a new one? Your thoughts? Regards, Usman." Yeah, I would. What I would say is, I think it's worthwhile doing, because it's probably just Panda that hits you, and it's just an algorithmic penalty, and you'll find that you'll be ranking again if in time. Give Google time to re-index and rediscover your site, and you know, reevaluate the metrics of your site. I'd try it again. Anybody else?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because you have to balance well, you have to take into consideration the effort you need to put in to get this site recovered, as it were. By doing so, do you think that's going to be more beneficial? You can get more benefits than starting fresh. So it's a very difficult thing to compare. So it all depends on the particulars, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you might have to put in quite a lot of effort to have this site recover, and you know, will you be gaining more if you were to start from scratch with the same content? You know, the high quality content that you're putting on now, you know, does it make sense to clean the penalized site, or start a new one? Which one will bring you greater benefit? if you can preserve something from the old site, then the rewards may be bigger than starting with a new site. At the same time, if there are still issues, if Google perceives there to be issues with the site, even after the cleanup, then however good content you may add to the site, it might not perform as well as a site that you'd have set up from scratch. So it's very difficult to say. And I think I don't know, it's very difficult to say which would be better, because it will really depend on the circumstances.
Yeah. Yes, it's a vexed question. All right, I've tweeted that. Let's move on to the next. I hope that's what you were looking for, Usman. Anton Ivanov asked a question titled, redirects all 404s to the homepage. Uh-oh. Anton said, I just bought a good domain that used to be a big website with a lot of content. I'm now adding new content to the site, but there are many links that point to the old content. When a user tries to load these missing pages, they receive a 404 error. I cannot recover all of these old articles with links pointing to them. Am I receiving any juice from these links if they point to a 404 page? Emphatic no. I read about a WordPress plugin that redirects all 404s to the home page. Crazy. Do you think that I should install it? No. Will this help? No. Anybody else?
No.
No. No. No. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you have, a million 404s. If the page is gone, the page is gone, and it makes sense. Just make sure you have a really decent, 404 landing page, redirect potential customers. The one thing that you want to do is, if that thing is gone and it does have any, the way you can check if it has got any what you call link juice, is in your search console. If you click on the actual page that's 404, and then it'll say linked from, and you can actually see if anybody's ever freaking linked to that page. You can then also go and see if that page is anyway half decent, and think, you know what, right, so this place talked about me, they linked to this particular product or article that no longer exists. Where can I best redirect it? Because obviously it makes sense. There's someone's linking to you, people are reading and they want to come through, they find a 404, so you can then redirect it to the next suitable page, whether it either be a category or another similar product, whatever. But a lot of the time, these, if there's multiples, they just, pages accumulated over time, they may not have anything to them, and in most instances they don't. The time that you tend to find a decent, a lot of 404s which have good quality, is when somebody's cocked up a site migration, and then you certainly want to be going through every single one. But if these were just built up over time, yeah, you can check them, but I certainly would not all of them with some plugin. The other thing is if you get the redirect completely wrong, so for example, you link from the product was a pink fluffy elephant and you redirect it to purple mongoose, right? Completely different color, different freaking animal, yeah, completely different. You'll probably find that will now then start appearing as a soft 404, because Googlebot's going, fuck, this makes no sense. And I'm sorry, but I would never trust a plugin to do that ever. So yeah, work your way through them. Some may have been linked to before, and in which case, see which is the nearest possible, most relevant you can redirect to. And if they are just internally, internally linked, or they were previously internally linked, and that's it. There's nothing else coming into them, not even a social link, for example. Just leave it for a foreman.
Yeah, good one, Tim. All right, let's go to the next. We lost Ashok. Yeah. Oh no, we're back. Yeah, it's great to see you back, Ashok. All right, Matus Zothan asked a question titled "Losing a lot of search engine page results due to the use of black hat links." Mathus said, "I'm losing a lot of search engine page results due to two competitors who use black hat links. Is there anything I can do? I know Google will punish him, but I can't wait until it happens. I'm losing market share due to it. Is there anything I can do, like report or do negative SEO to make him go down faster?"
Oh, Matthias. So you jump into a massive conclusion. You've checked out this guy's link profile and you've seen some dodgy links and you think, whoa, he's doing these massive, I think you totally like jumping. I think, what, 50, 60 dodgy links, and you think this dude, yeah, okay, so they could be playing into a part of it. But, I mean, are they really dodgy? Are they not? I mean, how crap are they? I don't know. If you don't provide, can't really say. But most people that come up with this are just reading it completely incorrectly, because they've sort of kind of like ignored, like this guy was once upon a time mentioned in Forbes, and literally, good quality, even it might be a no follow link, but good quality, a lot of online presence. They work their social media really well. They get a lot of people coming and viewing other traffic, and there's other links, incidental links all over the place coming to the site that you may not have even seen or found. So yeah, I would probably, take that with a pinch of salt when most people say that. On the flip side, let's say they have got 50 dodgy links, 100 dodgy links coming to them. Yeah, you can report them. I'm sure the link to report, to report spam to Google, you can. I don't know if I added to this one or you asked the same question last week or someone did. Anyway, yeah, I added that in. So you can report it to Google. That's not a problem. No, why are you going to spend money on negative SEO to make him go down faster? Spend the money on your site. Create freaking brilliant content. Spend that money. Why would you even think that I'm going to go and spend money to take down a competitor even more when I could spend that money on my own site? Come on, man. Think clever. Stop. You're just thinking crazy now. Create better content. What content has he got ranking, right? Create something better. Get it published. Get it out there. Start finding people to start getting eyes on your site. People that matter. Simple.
Yeah, cool, Tim. All right, let's go to the next. Stavros Karidamou asked a question titled, "What I should mark on structured data on a webmaster's website." Stavros said, "Can anybody advise me on what I should mark on structured data on the webmaster's website? I'm thinking that the data I selected and the types are completely wrong. The link is https / taxi evangelists and son.com." You guys having a look at the structured data on this link? I'll see if I can have a look.
Well, there is an organization schema. Actually, there are 3 organization schemas, and one is for review and the other one is for social media profiles, I think.
So we've got a taxi site here. Which is the Anavargos Avenue. Yeah, right. So I would totally get rid of all this organization crap. Okay, so what you want is you actually want to use a specific taxi markup. Hang on, let me just find this URL and I can and you can use because you use locations in it also, or what do you call it, service area. On my, and I'll just tell you the title so you can quickly search for that. Oh, God. Sorry. Okay, title is Local SEO Tips, and then Local Business Structured Data Markup. In there is an example of specifically for taxis, which will include obviously the name, include all your social media. So you can include your social media, same as, because you are essentially just one company. The hours, the name, your domains, your has map, images, your booking online, a link to your booking online actually, your social media markup, and crucially your geo, where your actual where your main geo is. So you can either use your, if you work out of an office, or you can actually use a circumference on your geo. So try that out. But that will incorporate all your organization things, apart from the, I'm not entirely sure if a taxi service you could incorporate aggregate rating into the taxi service structured data markup. Test it, the quickest way, and to see if that will accept it. If not, then you can still use the use that separately.
Yeah, according to schema.org/taxi service, you can use aggregate rating. It's one of the properties from service.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so essentially you could pop that all into just one. All the social media, the same as your location, your hours of service, your booking, your social media channels, your geolocation, all of that into one, nice and tidy, into your header, job done.
Yeah, and I would get rid of the event markup on the home page.
Oh yeah, it's got an event. Well, yeah, you know, that event should actually, yeah. Markup, you should actually be only marking that up on the actual event, which is the event dot Karagiozis shadow play. So the event structured data should actually be on the event, actual event itself, not, you know.
Yeah, actually, you can get a penalty for that, can't you, Tim? If you
Well, in turn, yeah, you could, but I don't think from having one misplaced event, you potentially, if that you were kept, you know, doing different ones potentially, but I don't think that would whack you with one just on a misplaced event.
Okay. All right, Stavros, I hope you found that useful. And let's move on to the next. Ted Rinchet has another question. It's titled, I'm confusing site title with the homepage title. Well, that's basically the same question we asked before, I think. What should your site title be? I'm confusing site title with the homepage title. What should my site be called? I'm guessing Calgary Painters, full colon, Echo Star Painting. And he gives a link, ecostarpainting.com. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Calgary.
Well,
yeah, go on, Tim.
Well, your name of your business is Echo Star Painting, right? And Google is switching these out, even if you do it incorrectly and you chuck that on the end. They, for your homepage, your meta title, Google automatically now literally switches your business name to the beginning of the title. So they would call it Echo Star Painting. So you might as well put that in the beginning because Google will do it anyway. The Echo Star Painting, and you can, you know, then looking at this, your Calgary Painters. So you, I mean, yeah, painters, you know, painters in Calgary. Surely we can find something nicer than just painters in Calgary. What kind of painters are you? I mean, what do you paint? Houses? Are you house painters? You could say house painters and decorators in Calgary. You know, to get a bit of context to that. And I would probably also look at that on your homepage. What do people? Let's just have it. That's actually quite interesting. Let's see. Calgary painters or house painters in Calgary. We'll do a little bit of research for you quickly. Here's Calgary, Canada. Is it Canada? All right, bear with me. It would help if I spelled Calgary properly. Well, I'm just scrolling your site chat, you know. Yes, I'm scrolling down. Sorry, you know, I got to the. So this is something for you to look at. Maybe get some people to look at. I scrolled down. I saw the Google review, the grey thing. Then I saw client video reviews, and I was like, okay, that's the end of the site. And then there's the EcoStar Promise, another video, and then I actually scrolled down, and yes, you're residential and commercial painting You've even got it there. So literally, I thought your site was over. So that's something you may want to think at. You might want to actually put that section, residential, commercial, you know, higher up. I literally thought your site was over. Well, residential and commercial painting service in Calgary. You're also eco-friendly. Well, I suppose, look, you need to get your top line in there. So residential and commercial painting, Calgary. That's what I would recommend for that.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered this. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Next one from Josu Sanchez Anelda. It's titled that my competition is clicking on my ads hundreds of times with rotating IP addresses. Josu said, I'm considering paying for a while, paying for Google AdWords to appear first on search engine results pages. But I know my competition is clicking on those ads hundreds of times, changing their IP address. Is there any way to protect me from that? Is that effective?
Well, firstly, if you know you've got irrelevant things and Google picks these up, you don't pay for the click. But you know, I was thinking about this. So firstly, the first thing you need to do is target your ads, right? So you're going to target them to an area, to a specific area. I don't know what your business is. I doubt you're doing the entire country, but let's say you target specifically an actual area. Okay. You know, most free IP addresses won't offer, you know, most free of the things just offer some random things located around the world. So firstly, Google will pick those up straight away. Secondly, if your competition actually literally you know, wants to target from their IP, obviously, yeah, they have to target from an IP that you've set your targeted ads at. So they more than likely have to get you know, a paid VPN, you know, proxy for that. Do you honestly think that your competition is going to literally pay and then have the time to sit there and, you know, switch an IP, then click on your ad, then go out, then switch your IP, then go? Really? It blows my mind. So look, even if they are, mate, even if they are, 99% of the time, Google will catch these things, right? You won't pay for the ad. You know, keep your, you know, server log files, things like that. So you know, just if these people were doing it, you'll get a refund anyway. But the sheer fact that now you say that they would be doing this, if your competition has the time and obviously you costing them money to literally switch IPs, click an ad, go out, switch IPs, click an ad, switch an ad, click it, you know, then to me they are not competition. If your competition, a business, has the time to waste trying to cost someone else money by switching IP and clicking an ad, switching IP, clicking an ad, then they're not competition, mate. I wouldn't even be worrying about these dickheads because they're not obviously concentrating on their business. And I just think it's crazy. But yeah, my top tip there would be to specifically target your ads to regions or the area that, you know, you want to serve. Don't just go willy-nilly the country, the whole country, yeah, or worldwide, because you know what I mean. You know, bring it down a notch and target them specifically, and that will be your biggest defense in terms of idiots, you know, doing, you know, trying to jumping around with IPs and clicking. But seriously, you know, at the end of the day, if these guys, if that's all if they've got time to literally do that, yeah, okay, so like a little, you know, a local business or whatever, then they know competition. You should have these guys down pat in a month. End of.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next. Andrew Engel asks a question building. Oh, I remember this. He was just looking for a person to do a job, and it can be viewed on the Dumb SEO Questions group. So we'll just skip that one and we'll go to the next. Event schema. Question from Kiana Jackson, who asks, for event schema, is there a way to get more of your events listed? Here's what I'm working with. My client wants more classes to be listed. Is it by query, only those classes in the next 2 weeks? Does Google just do whatever or what?
No, there's nothing within the next 2 weeks. If you've got an event coming up 6 months' time, if you've added your event structured data markup to that class page, you know, depending on how also you've integrated your local business page, depending on how you've integrated that. So one, it will appear that event will appear in the search results underneath that class listing itself. Two, if that event is within your home page and you've got, let's say, a list on your home page of upcoming events, then that should, in theory, appear potentially on your home page. And if you've integrated that class page or the site properly with your Google Business listing, you can do one or two things, and I would do two things rather than the one thing. But if you've integrated it correctly, then your event will be appearing in the knowledge panel for the business. And you can also set an event within a Google post that will appear. But now, one thing to remember with the Google post is you need to post them. Google still hasn't kind of figured out that your July event is coming up in July. It will show it, but for example, if you post one coming up previously, let's say, or later, let's say in September, they'll show the September one first, basically based upon when you. So yeah, they still haven't figured that one out. But yeah, you know, event structured data markup on the class page itself. If you've integrated it correctly, that will pull through to your knowledge panel as well as the page of the actual class in search results. So if somebody's searching for a specific class and they search for a class, blah, 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 they'll see it and then they'll have the event also, the little rich snippet. So yeah, you know, you don't have to wait 2 weeks. If the event's coming up in 6 months' time, get it down, get it on site, and you know, mark it up. Get it sorted. There's no like 2 weeks. We're not going to show in 2 weeks or a week or whatever. You know, if it's going to happen in 6 months, it'll display it on the day at the end of the event, the time that you add. So in event structured data, you have a starting date and time and a finishing date and time. So it literally stops displaying at the end date.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. All right. I hope that's useful to you, Kiana. And here's a question now from Rami Moskovich. It's titled "Bad Links from Another Site to Some Pages That Never Existed." Rami Moskovich said, "Hi, on the Search Console, the Google Search Console, I've started to get these mistakes report. From about a month ago, there are suddenly reports that there are bad links from the site to some pages that never existed. These pages have nothing to do with the theme of the site, which is interior design. The links look very spammy and might be hurting my SEO ranking. And does anyone know what is the reason for these false links? How do I get rid of them? Thank you.
I believe that was actually 404s he was looking at. So they weren't links; they were 404 pages.
Okay, so we should accept that Adam Durant's answer has covered it for Rami. Can we say that? And we thank Adam Durant for taking the time and trouble to respond on the Dumb SEO Questions group on Facebook. All right, let's move on to the next. This one from Chase Rayner, SEO. And he said, when would you want to no follow? Index a page versus follow index. Oh, when would you want to no follow index a page versus follow index?
So yeah, the top of it would be if it's a thin, empty page, or if it's a duplicate page, you know, like a tag, etc. Then I would no follow index it, because essentially, depending on what it is, so let's say it's a tag, then at least Googlebot would still be following through and understanding that, okay, these are related to, you know, pink fluffy elephants, and that one's related to that. But if it's a thin page that, for example, is some like a random parameter query or something like that, I wouldn't actually no follow index it, although it may be, because you've got Yoast installed, for example, it may be easier to select that. But actually, I would just actually robots.txt those odd shitty parameter query pages that are literally empty, you know. So I'd rather deal with it that way once and for all. You know, you need to look at the page and what is it there for and what is it doing before you make sort of the decision.
Yep. All right, let me tweet that. So, number 16 on our run list is titled Redirecting All 404s Found Every Morning, from our good friend JL Faverio. He said, am I wasting my time opening Google Search Console for each client and redirecting all 404s found every morning? It seems that there should be a more efficient way to do this.
I'm just trying to understand why, you know, if you're managing the site, surely you know what pages are being 404'd, or have you only just taken on the site, and or is the client just randomly deleting freaking pages every night? I mean, why are you randomly having 404s every day? So I don't kind of know, but let's just say assume that for some reason these 404s are appearing. I would look at the source. You know, why are they appearing every day? And I would create a manual to instruct people on what the crack is and why you're deleting these pages. I mean, are they product? I mean, why? You know, I would need to know why firstly. But then now to answer your question, let's assume that they are random, that like you get 100 of these things every night. I don't know why, but Google's not going to, Search Console ain't going to pick them up every night. It'll, you know, there's delays in that, obviously. But let's say every night, every morning you log in and there's 100 new 404s. And there's a reason for that. Like I said, you need to figure out what the hell's going on if you get these every day. I will dig out. Oh shit! There's a specific. There is a third-party application that will monitor your site for you. I'm just okay. The name slips me. I'll dig it out and I'll chuck it in the I'll chuck it in the thing. You know, to go back, why are these 404'd? This is the thing. You know, once you understand. Once you have a better understanding of what's going on or why you're getting these things every day, then that's going to also kind of lead the fact to, do I need to check these every day? Because they could be legitimately just thin shit pages which are being deleted, or a product that was there for a week and, you know, nobody's ever found and it's deleted and they've replaced it. I don't know why you would, but assumingly, but ideally, yeah, you do want to check your 404s. I mean, look, if you have a million 404s, that's cool, but ideally you would want to check them, because some pages, and once you have a better understanding of why these things are all being 404'd, some pages do have, you know, you will occasionally find a little gem in there, a little nugget in there that is actually being linked to by quite a few places. So I would double check them, because if they have actually got a little bit of equity in them, you know, you need to find the correct place to redirect them to. But 90% of the time, they're all just crap. Nobody's ever linked to it, so you just, no problem, just ignore them. But I think that you will get a better understanding when you know why these are appearing every day. I mean, that makes no sense. You need to just understand why they're appearing.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next. Gregory Danshutter wants to know, is it harmful to place breadcrumbs at the bottom of the page instead of on the top for SEO purposes? A client has no breadcrumbs at the moment, but adding breadcrumbs at the top is hard due to the design. So we would add them at the bottom of the page and also add microdata to highlight the breadcrumbs. What do you think? Thanks.
Sounds okay to me.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Mr. Taki. There's nothing wrong with putting breadcrumbs at the bottom. People expect to find them at the top or somewhere near the top. But I mean, as long as they're useful for the user, if you're just doing it for some imagined SEO value, forget it. It's of no value. Well, some value. It's an internal link. That's all it is. All right.
Yeah. The only reason that might be useful in a sense is because if you mark up the breadcrumbs, then you're telling search engines the structure of your site or hierarchy of your site. So, you know, which bits go where, and, you know, where does it start from home, and at which level in the hierarchy the current page is. So in that sense, it might be helpful in terms of allowing others to see your site structure more clearly. But I'm not 100% sure how much of help it would be in terms of SEO. I suspect very marginal.
Yep. All right, let's look at number 18 from Marvin Hernandez. Helping Google to recognize backlinks to my site. Hello everyone, I had a few backlinks added recently, 30 days ago, but it would seem they might not be indexed yet by Google based on the linking tool I use. or on Google Search Console under index links to my site. So could it be the case after all this time my sites are not getting the juice from these backlinks? And if so, what can I do to help Google recognize these backlinks to my site? Thank you.
Okay, so just because Search Console doesn't display it and whatever tool you're using doesn't display it, the easiest way to see whether Googlebot's seen them is to obviously the page where they're on is it cached and indexed? If it's cached and indexed, Googlebot knows about it. End of story. If they have not been found, if they're not cached, that page is not cached and indexed after, what did you say? I don't know, 3 months or something? Did he say 3 months? Anyway, if they haven't been found after the 3 months, yeah, I would even question what pages these links are on, mate, because something that Googlebot on a site feels that they don't even need to bother, crawling on a regular basis, that they haven't even found after 1 or 2 months. I would whether that that link is half, well, it probably maybe, and if they haven't found it, depending on what it is, it sounds very dodgy to me. If Googlebot hasn't found that after 2 months. So yeah, I mean, that's your quickest, easiest way is just check if that page has been cached and indexed, and if it has, don't worry about it, because console is like, that can take, that they only display what they want to display in there. And your other crawlers have to crawl these pages before they show up. So if it's cached and indexed, Googlebot's found it and it knows it's there, so don't worry about it. But you've got a big problem after 1 or 2 months if that hasn't been found, cached and indexed, and that's where your link is, because I'm telling you now, that is worth nothing, and depending on what's on it, it may even be toxic.
Yep. All right, let's go to the next. Nope, it's that time. It's thank you for watching time. We thank you for your interest in what we do, because your participation makes what we do worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again. But for now, it's good night, and thank you.